My name's Steve Noon. I'm a clinical psychologist, and for many years I've been involved in trying to work out how best to support carers. And I've been asked to put together a small video for folk who are offering support through shared lives, really to try and just highlight what we know about what stress is and some simple ways of dealing with it, especially in this time of self-isolation. The first thing I'd really want to stress is stress is normal, and that actually in this time where everybody's under demands, where we can't go out, where our routines are broken, everybody is under a greater sense of feeling stressed. But that's not to undermine what you're experiencing, but it's really just putting out there that we should normalise these experiences. There's no doubt that whatever we've experienced in the past, that is, if we've been depressed, if we've been very anxious, when we're stressed again, we get a sense that some of those old things might be coming back. Now, I've got to stress, it doesn't mean just because you're worried that, oh, I'm going to get depressed again, or I'm going to start getting panicky again. It doesn't mean that's going to happen, but just recognising that that's normal to have those feelings. I suppose one of the most important things is working out what's the best thing that I can do when I'm feeling stressed. And whether what I do makes things better or actually maybe makes things worse. So the first thing is maybe we just check out the normal responses that we all have when we're feeling stressed. You know, it might be that you're starting to feel tense, that you can feel your body tensing. You might be having waves when at times your heart's beating a bit faster. Maybe the tummy churning. Maybe you're not sleeping as well. It's also important to notice what you're thinking. There's a lovely phrase called thought jacking. Are you being hijacked in your thoughts by particular negative ones, the particular worries? I won't know what to do if. Imagining a future that is maybe difficult and challenging. It's worth just checking out these things, taking a moment. How am I at the moment? Am I feeling a little bit overwhelmed? And if I am, where is it I feel it? Is it, as I've suggested, my heart beating, a sense of tension, those early signs of feeling stressed? Is it that I'm starting to turn over some negative thoughts? Because if that's happening and you recognise it, then you're on the first step to do something about it. You see, there's lots of things out there that help us deal with stress. And you may have heard of something called the 5 ways to wellbeing. And these are government recommended steps that we should try and include in our life all the time, and it's probably especially true when we're in a situation like we are now. And I just want to go through them with you and draw attention to some key bits. Because what we do know is when we're feeling stressed, we can get out of kilter, we can get caught up in our thoughts, we can be worrying more. And it really helps if we could just make ourselves a plan, make sure that the day ahead of us, we've got some little goals and we're working towards them. When structure's taken away, it really helps if we can put some structures back. But if we actually go through the 5 steps to well-being, you know, one of the most important ones is that we connect with people. And in this time of our self-isolation, it's very easy to have less contact with the people important to us. So maybe we have to make a little bit extra effort. And maybe to start to think about our connections with our friends and our loved ones are like psychological food. We just need it to keep us going. Those little informal chats. So making time to have those phone calls, to plan in, maybe using some of the software that's available now that most people have access to, like Zoom or FaceTime. And just to notice if you're starting to lose contact. You know, maybe the last couple of days you've just been too busy. Well, we know it'll make a difference if we make time to connect with people. So that's one thing. Another thing which everybody is talking about, being active, taking your hour's exercise. Now, it doesn't have to be running or cycling, but maybe it's about a little walk. Maybe it's about just do some little stretches. But in this time, we have to care for our bodies. So if we're sat around more, if we're not moving around as much, how can I do little things that will make a difference? So that's the second one, being active. And the third one is we know that we have minds that like to learn. And when we're very, very busy, we might not have as much time. We might just feel tired. But you know, maybe there's something about finding that 10, 20 minutes to do the things that we have an interest in, our little hobbies. Even if it's finding out about a piece of music or something that we're interested in, if we can read something, keeping our mind active will help us. Now the fourth one I think has probably got a special relevance to the conditions that we're in at the moment. And it's called taking notice, taking stock. And you may have heard there's lots of talk about mindfulness and yoga. Psychologically, we know if we spend time taking stock, being still, just asking ourselves, what am I feeling at this moment? And I would recommend trying to take just a couple of minutes each day. When I did some work with some family carers and we tried to work out what are the things that really help people, a number of the recommendations were finding that time. Maybe it's at the start of the day when you're waiting for the kettle to boil, and you are going to take 2 or 3 minutes just to be still and to take stock. How am I at this moment? And bring your awareness to how your body is. What can you notice? And if you do this every day, you'll start to notice things like if you sat down, little things like, the pressure of my body against the chair, pressure of my feet against the floor. Maybe you'll notice a few little niggles. And then ask yourself, well, how am I feeling at the moment? And this is where we can get better at describing how we're feeling. And okay, I feel a little bit tense, but that's different from how I was feeling yesterday. And maybe you can give a word to it. I'm feeling a bit under the weather, or I'm feeling full of energy, I'm feeling more at peace. You build up your own vocabulary for how you're feeling. And while you're doing this in these couple of minutes, you can also check what sort of thoughts are racing through your head. Because we're so busy, we don't take time to notice the thoughts that go through our head. And it's at these little moments that we can say, I'm starting to worry about that thing. That's been going around my head. I'm actually worrying about little things that I don't need to worry about once I've said them out loud. So we can gain a little bit of insight of how we're feeling. So just doing those 3 things, sat there, and then maybe just bring it to an end by becoming aware of the fact that you're breathing and how you breathe. So that's a formal way of being more mindful, of taking notice. But you may find other ways. You may find going for a walk or going in the garden and taking time to just really notice the things around you. But giving yourself time to do that, we know can make a difference. And then the final one is probably the one that most of you will have far more to immediate relevance. It's about giving. That these little acts of kindness throughout the day to the people that we care for are actually forms of nourishment for ourselves. But you know, when we're lost to our worries or feeling a little bit overwhelmed, we can lose the opportunity to take the nourishment and to notice that as you're caring for somebody, solving somebody's problems, attending to somebody, your humanity is flourishing, and we know psychologically that helps us. So look, these 5 things, and you can go onto the internet and find out more about them, the 5 ways to well-being. If we can find new habits that encourage us to invest time in how we connect with our loved ones and people important in our life, that we remain active with a little bit of exercise, that we always try and, I'm not saying, when I say keep learning, we don't have to do a course, but we keep our mind active, thinking, engaged. And then we take time to notice and to take stock of what's happening in our life. And then we also notice how we're giving and caring for those around us. These things can act to nourish us and protect us. Hope that's of some use. Thank you.